babe. You're searching for a hero.
MWM editorial. President Trump and the BBC. Is the media under attack or being fine-tuned from outside? Written by Martin Pettigo for MWM on Show 95, live from Pennsylvania, read by Alaba Tibor. There was a time when the BBC was not just a broadcaster, it was a lifeline. In quiet African evenings before the smartphone age, families tuned their small radios and waited for that gentle voice that said, "This is the BBC World Service." Farmers stopped in the wind, teachers gathered their students close, mothers hushed their children and listened as that faraway voice carried truth across oceans. It was not gossip, it was not manipulation, it was trust. The BBC spoke when borders were walls and freedom was a dream. Through colonial days and nights of uncertainty, through wars, silence, and dawns of independence, it whispered courage to millions who needed hope. But time has moved. The world is faster now. Information runs ahead of reflection. Everyone has a voice, and truth has become a race for attention. And into that noise walked President Trump. From the moment he called CNN and the BBC fake news, a storm began. Not of weapons, but of words. He accused the BBC of bias, of protecting the powerful, of shaping stories to please unseen hands. He mocked their reporters in public and said they had become actors playing roles instead of witnesses to truth. Many brushed it aside as anger, but others quietly heard something familiar. A deep ache that perhaps somewhere the trust between people and the press had cracked. Then came that cold January day at the US Capitol. The world held its breath. In the days that followed, the BBC, like many, replayed President Trump's speech again and again. But the version that reached most ears was not complete. The words where he said his supporters should march peacefully and patriotically were missing. That edited soundbite circled the world for years. It painted an image, fixed an emotion, and for millions it became the only version they knew. And now the question lingers in the air. Was that attack on one man, or was it an injury to truth itself? If even a trusted institution can trim words and tilt meaning, then what happens to the fragile thread called trust? The BBC, once a beacon of balance, now stood in its own reflection, asked to prove again that it belonged to honesty, not to influence. Perhaps President Trump's fury was not born of vanity. Perhaps it was the voice of someone demanding fairness in a world drowning in perception. But when leaders and journalists turn against one another, the real casualty is understanding. The people are left between their echoes, unsure who to believe. Once we turned a dial and the BBC guided us through confusion. Now we scroll endlessly through 1,000 voices, each claiming to hold the truth, each whispering what we already want to hear. We have become followers of opinion rather than seekers of fact. Maybe, without knowing, we have been played by technology that rewards outrage, by systems that profit from division. President Trump's battle with the press did not invent this weakness. It revealed it. It showed how easily stories can replace facts and how quickly trust can crumble when truth is edited for effect. Yet, even through the noise, the BBC still has a chance to rise again. To remember what made it beautiful once, humility, accuracy, courage. If that spirit returns, the world will listen again, not to headlines, but to heartbeats. President Trump may have wounded the press with his words, but he also exposed its wounds. He forced journalism to look inward, to ask the most intimate question of all. Do we still serve the people, or have we begun to serve ourselves? And in that question lies the seed of healing. Because when truth is tested, it becomes pure. And when a voice is honest, it does not fear the fire. So tell me, was this truly an attack on a man, or was it a turning point for the media itself? Maybe it was both. But maybe it was also grace, a chance for renewal. If the BBC and others can rise from this storm with humility and honesty restored, history will remember not the noise, but the redemption. For light, my friend, always shines brightest after walking through the fire. And this editorial was written by Martin Pettigo for MWM on Show 95, live from Pennsylvania. It was read by Alaba Tibor. Stay awake, stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep listening to MWM on Show 95, where truth meets voice.
Tired of the day, our leaders promise change, but it's all in vain. We're searching for a hero, someone to lead the way, to bring us out of darkness into a brighter day. Now with every step we take, we find our voice.